So you're thinking about relocating to the Pensacola area, and you're like, well, where should I live? Where should I move to? Stick around because I'm going to help you find that perfect spot. All right, so you're thinking about moving to the area, and you're like, you know what, where do I want to go? You know, west side, east side, north side versus south side. Do you want to be towards the beach, or do you want to be more country? Well, you know what? That's what I'm here to help you with. So let's start out with just kind of looking at the Pensacola area, because, you know, if you Google Pensacola, the city of Pensacola is actually really small. Population is like 50,000 people. So like before I moved here, I looked at Pensacola. I was like, man, there's no way I could live in a city that small. So you have to look at more like the Escambia County when it comes to population or where things are at. It's really interesting because my parents moved here, right? And they're not in the city of Pensacola. They're in Escambia County. My dad doesn't understand sometimes because his mail still says Pensacola, that you're in Pensacola, but you're not in the city of Pensacola. Really weird, right? But whatever. Let's get into some good stuff.
This is some good stuff, man.
So one thing about Pensacola that's a little bit more unique than places that I've been from, especially on the west side, are subdivisions. There's not a lot of subdivisions here. Now, they are growing. We're getting a lot more new construction, but you know, coming from Phoenix, Scottsdale, San Diego, that's pretty much all subdivisions. So you come here and you could have a trailer park on one side of the street and a $1 million property on the other side. Zoning's kind of whack. It's weird, but that's Pensacola, right? But what you need to identify is, do I want to live in a subdivision? Do I want to live in an HOA, right? Because areas like where I live in East Hill. It's not really a subdivision. There's no HOA, but it's one of the most desirable spots. I think East Hill is one of the best spots to live because, number one, the location, right? I mean, you're a couple minutes from downtown. You're a couple minutes from the beach. You're a few minutes from Target. There's grocery shopping. There's, you know, you can go over the 3 Mile Bridge and go into Gulf Breeze, all right? Or you can go to Creighton, go to Walmart. Walmart's a little bit farther, or you go to Publix, Winn-Dixie, you know, those places, they're really, really close. The thing about East Hill is, you know, it's not zoned when it comes to schools, it doesn't have the best school. But that's where we talk about, you know, school choice and things like that. We've talked about the different opportunities with getting, you know, state funding for your kids to go to private school. Let's say you want to live, you know, a little bit more country, right? Beulah. Beulah's growing. That area up there is really, really growing. You know, there's a lot going on, but for me, it's a little too far from stuff. And when it comes to getting in and out, there's not that many options. And you know what? Make sure you guys make a note and hit that bell, because we are actually bringing videos every Wednesday, and we're going to be dropping videos for you that are going to make you understand what it's like to live, sleep, eat, vacation, work here in Pensacola or along the Panhandle. One thing about this whole area is the speed limits. I'm not used to 35-mile-an-hour speed limits, 35-mile-an-hour speed limits all over. And it's funny because getting from one point to the next, it might only be, you know, 5-6 miles, but with the way people drive and speed limits and things like that, it takes so much longer. So speed limits, you know, kind of one of those things. But where do you want to live? Do you want to live by, maybe you have kids going to school? Do you want to live in a certain school district? You could live wherever you want in school choice. Now, if you school choice, you have to drop your kids off. Or like I said, you do private school, you know, then you still have to drop them off. But that's definitely one of the things you want to look at is, hey, do we want to be in a certain school district? And you might be in a certain school district. You might be in a good school district for elementary school, but the middle school stinks. Maybe the high school stinks, right? Do we live someplace that has a good high school and a good elementary school? Because once again, Pensacola doesn't have the best middle school, right? That's why we got Brody and Gannon into private school. They both did public school for most of elementary school. Brody, we got him into Sacred Heart right before middle school starting, just to make sure there was actually a spot for him. But that is one of those things you want to look at. What about schools? What about work? Where are you going to be working? There's quite a few people like, hey, I don't mind being 30 minutes from work, because where we live at now, we live in a big city. I drive 45 minutes, I drive an hour. I'm cool being 30 minutes. And you know what? Everything in this area is within 30 minutes. Now it depends on some traffic, and there's some areas that get really congested, and that's another thing. There's the traffic is building. We're getting more people moving here. And so the traffic is getting worse. I've talked about how the traffic here, there's nobody compared to like you go to a big city, but I'll tell you, it is getting worse. There is a lot more people on the roads. The other night on a Sunday night, we were driving and didn't see a car for 5 minutes. Funny, but there's certain areas, especially if you go towards like the west side, like down Gulf Beach Highway, if you live towards Perdido, there's one road. There's a couple roads, but one main road. You got Gulf Beach, might turn into Sereno Road, but Gulf Beach Highway is your main road. And if you get out there, the speed limit, and it's one way, it's just a two-lane road. You get stuck behind, looky-loo, it could take you a little while. So that's definitely one of those things you want to keep in mind, is what is it like getting in and out of that area? If I need to get to the airport, do you travel a lot? Do you have people that come and go? How close do you want to be to the airport? And that's growing also. Being close to work or schools could be a really important thing for you. Now, what about, do you like going out? Do you like restaurants, bars? Do you like having things available to you to be able to go and do? Do you like different ethnicities when it comes to restaurants? Hey, we want to go to a Mexican food restaurant tonight. Might want to go to an Indian one next week, right? There's some great restaurants, great Thai food, Vietnamese. There's some cool Jamaican and kind of Caribbean style restaurants. You got Mr. Pollo, which is a great little spot. Really good chicken, beans, plantains, that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of great restaurants here in the area. So it's like, okay, where do we want to be? Do we want to be by that stuff? We love going out 9 Mile up on the north side of town, up by UWF. That place is growing crazy. They're actually going to be putting a Costco. Yeah, a Costco. You heard me right. We're getting a Costco. That's how big Pensacola is getting. You got, they got a boxing gym up there, but you also got every place from Maynard's Donuts to Fusacli's. You got, Lost Pizza. There's lots of stuff going on. Some great restaurants along 9 Mile. Eurasian Bistro actually has a robot that comes and serves your food, but that's all the way towards Pace. But then 9 Mile goes all the way pretty much towards the Alabama border. Restaurants all the way along there, all the way to Beulah. Now, what about walkability? Do you like to get out? Do you like to ride your bike? Do you have a dog? Do you have kids? Do your kids like to get out and ride their bikes, play? So that might be another thing you're looking at, is where are sidewalks? That is one thing that's kind of weird about Pensacola, is you're not going to see sidewalks everywhere. Even in East Hill, there's quite a few streets that don't have sidewalks. And it is kind of annoying because, you're driving and people are running or riding their bikes on the street. Hey, does that matter to you? There's a lot of places that don't have sidewalks to walk. If that's one of those things that you care about, we definitely need to make sure we look at stuff. If you're looking to move to the area, we'd love to help you, and we'd love to do video walkthroughs for you, whatever that may be. Make sure you call or text us 850-637-8622. What about kids? Do you have kids or grandkids and you want to be by things? We have a couple great bowling alleys. We love going to Strikers over there off Pace and Fairfield. Don't judge a book by its cover. If you look it up or if you go there, it is awesome. I think it's one of the best bowling alleys in town. Huge screen on the back, which is really, really sweet. Great food. You got Strikers, you got Cordova Lanes, and then you get up to Lake Pace and you got Oops Alley. So do you like that kind of stuff? Are they into sports? Right? For us, our kids play sports. So we wanted to make sure we're pretty close to parks. If it's a tennis court or a pickleball court or basketball hoops, or hey, if you're looking for baseball fields, if you're towards the Perdido area, you got Perdido Sports Complex, which is huge. They got a lot of fields out there, football, baseball, soccer, softball, all that kind of stuff. And then, Pensacola, you got Roger Scott, where Bill Bond plays. Vickery Center is a big one for basketball. They also do volleyball and things like that there. There's some other indoor facilities that, hey, if your kids are going to be in these sports, unless they're playing at school sports, hey, you might want to be a little closer to. Up off 9 Mile, you got NEP. So those are things that we definitely want to look at when relocating. And then also, what are real estate prices like? Hey, we want to be by sports complex, but we don't want to spend more than $400,000. Hey, Perdido might be a great spot. Or you could go up off 9 Mile. There's tons of real estate up there under 400. If you like to play golf, Scenic Hills Golf Course up there off 9 Mile. You got Marcus Point. That's my go-to spot. Or you want to go towards the west side, you got Perdido Bay Golf Course, you got Lost Key, aka Lost Ball. But if you go out towards Perdido, you're a farther drive to get downtown or to get to the airport and things like that. Now, I love Perdido. I think it's a great spot. And if I didn't have kids, or if I was retired, or whatever that may be, I could live out there. Absolutely. Innerarity Point, being on the key is great. Big Lagoon, really cool. You got the intercoastal right there, so you could jump on the water. You could head towards Orange Beach Inlet, the pass there, or hit up the Pensacola Pass. What kind of shopping do you like to do? You've heard me say this before, TJ Maxx, Target. If my wife's not within 5 minutes of those, I don't know if we could be there. I don't know what my wife would do if we didn't live by a TJ Maxx and Target. She'd probably have to spend more time at home or something. I don't know. Target, TJ Maxx, these things. Do you want to be by those? Do you want to be by grocery shopping? Do you want to be by a Publix instead of a Winn-Dixie? Do you want to be by a Publix instead of, a Grocery Advantage, or a Piggly Wiggly? Understanding where those things are at is really, really important, but also then finding a house that's going to fit your needs. And that's what we love doing. We love connecting the dots. We love saying, hey, you know what? You're looking for this, let us find you, and let's connect, make sure we find you the exact spot that's going to work best for you. And also, hey, do you want to be by the beach? Gosh, how did we forget about the beach? Jeez. Do you want to be by Pensacola Beach or closer to Pensacola Beach, or do you want to be closer to Perdido Key? If you live on the west side, getting to Perdido Key is going to be a lot easier to get to. But if you like to go to Pensacola Beach, whatnot, being, on the east side or the south side of town is obviously going to get you to Pensacola Beach or to Gulf Breeze or any of those other areas much quicker. Being kind of centrally located, you also are closer to the freeway. You got the 110 that's going to bring you to the 10. The 110 goes north and south, 10 goes east and west, and the 110 pretty much brings you right downtown. So no matter where you live, you could jump on there and it'll bring you up to the 10. You could head west, head east, or you then jump on the 29 and that'll take you, up to Atlanta, right? So really depends on what you're looking for, but to find that perfect spot, we are here to help you. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. And if there's anything we could do, make sure you hit us up. We love helping people. And if you want to schedule a call, make sure you click the link below, but 850-637-8622. Bye.